Kings. Just what are your thoughts on Teofimo, Haney, Davis, and Lopez being called?
Don't mention them in the same breath as those four great fighters. Leonard Hagler, Tommy Hearns, and Roberto Duran. Look what they accomplished in their career. Great fighters. These young guys might one day be great. Right now, I look at them as wannabes. Even there, as wannabes, they have look. It was only in retrospect that we acknowledge the greatness of these four guys. Look what Tommy accomplished, how many titles he won. Look at Roberto Duran, how when he was counted out, he beat Barkley to win the middleweight title when he was well into his career. Look at Marvin, who fought everybody and destroyed everybody. And look at Ray. I mean, that's an unbelievable story. He retired because of the eye. He came back, and his career afterwards was even better than the great career he had before. Those were great fighters. Hopefully, Teofimo, Ryan Garcia, or Haney will one day have a record where we could say they're greats. But anybody who says any of them are greats now just doesn't understand the history, the great history of the sport of boxing.
Bob, I mean, we saw all those greats fight each other at a very young age. We had the same names just mentioned calling each other out, but what do you think needs to happen in order for them to step into the ring with each other?
They didn't fight each other. They were at their peaks when they fought each other, but they didn't fight each other at a young age. It didn't at all. Check the numbers, check their ages.
Ray and Tommy were 22
Yeah.
right. They were young.
Well, that fight.
Well, yeah, that's the one.
But again, Tommy had won a title against Vito Cuevas, which was great, and he had knocked out everybody. He had this real record, and Ray was the phenomenon. He had beat Benitez at that point. He had fought Duran, lost to Duran, and he beat Duran. I mean, look at their records when they fought each other. These guys, with the possible exception of Teofimo, these guys have fought nobody.
Say, Bob, well, out of these new fighters that we have now, who do you see is closest to those fighters that you're mentioning?
Well, certainly Teofimo got a shot. If he shuts up a little bit, and I think Teofimo has a shot. I think that Gervonta Davis, again, has a shot.
Yes, sir.
To be a really good fighter.
Speaking of Gervonta Davis, you hosted here Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez for Undisputed at 140. What are your thoughts on Gervonta moving up to fight for a regular title?
I think it's too small. If you want to know what I think, I don't think Taylor would have any trouble.
And
again, but he has advisors.
And real quick, Bob, any updates on the next fight for Terrence Bud Crawford?
We're meeting with him, with his people, on Friday at our office, and we want him back in the ring by early October.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Well, Teofimo, I talked with his manager, David McWhorter, and he has a number of ways to go. One, if he wants to do a lightweight fight, the best fight, as far as he wants to do pay-per-view, is Teofimo's a rematch with him. I mean, with Lomachenko. That would do good business. But he may very well decide that his goal is to fight Josh Taylor, in which case I would put him in with 140 pounds, like Julian Rodriguez or Jose Pedraza, whoever wins the fight on Saturday. That would be a very interesting fight. with Teofimo either against Pedraza in the Garden in New York or against Julian Rodriguez.
What about a fight with Devin Haney, who has
Devin Haney, the problem with Devin Haney is he has 30 days that he has to talk to Eddie Hearn. And then after the 30 days, apparently Eddie Hearn has a right to match. It's too complicated if I have to get him in the ring in October, Teofimo, because Teofimo's wife is having a baby in November, and he wants to get that fight done before his child is born. So Devin Haney is going to be out of the picture for now because of the legalities.
Steele seems to want it next.
I don't care what anybody wants next, but there are contracts and there are problems in doing a lot of things. And wanting, it's not like a baby who wants certain kind of ice cream, right?
What about Lomachenko?
What?
Lomachenko Devin Haney?
Again, if, let's say, that's interesting. If, let's say,
Bob and you guys.
Teofimo is going to go to 140 pounder, that leaves Lomachenko looking for a dance partner. And that would be an interesting fight, Devin Haney and Lomachenko. So again, and you will have the time constraints with Lomachenko because if he has to fight in December, that would be fine. And there's a date that we're looking for a big fight, and that's December 11th, because that's the Heisman Trophy. And so we'd be in Madison Square Garden, and that would be a good fight for the Garden.
Bob, one quick question. Fury takes care of Wilder. If Fury takes care of Wilder, is it feasible that y'all can make that Anthony Joshua fight
I
happen?
would certainly think so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that fight was going to happen.
Right.
If we hadn't had the arbitrators rule. And obviously, both guys, both Joshua and Fury, won that fight. Joshua doesn't have a walk in the park with Usyk.
Right.
Usyk is a very good boxer. So we'll have to see. But obviously, if Fury wins and Joshua wins, it's logical that they fight each other.
now they're saying that it looks like Joshua and Usyk are going to fight in late September. With Fury fighting next month, would you be willing to, or would Fury be willing to sit out till early next year for that fight?
No, but I think you look at the fight in December. If he fights, if Joshua fights in September, he could still make a fight in December. And I know in the Mideast, that's the month that they won a big fight.
Because of the weather and whatnot?
Yeah. And because it's they're opening up a new area in Saudi Arabia in December. So they want to open it up with this fight.
So even with the UK opening back up from COVID, you think that fight, because of how much money's involved, it still belongs in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, remember, if we do the fight in December in the winter in the UK, there's only one venue that you could do it in, and that's up in Cardiff in Wales, because they have a 70,000 seat arena that's indoors. The other arenas in the UK are all outdoors, and you can't do a fight in December.
Of that magnitude, right?
What were your thoughts on Eddie Hearn kind of saying he felt like there was some smelled dirty on your side?
Eddie Hearn has diarrhea of the mouth. He can't stop talking, and he doesn't think, because in the contract which Joshua signed and Fury signed, we specifically had a section talking about the arbitration and talking about the possibility that the arbitrator would order him to fight. So everybody knew about that. Now, people said, oh, the papers are clear. The arbitrator will never rule that way. But it's not a secret that it was in arbitration and that this was a possibility. Now, Eddie Hearn was the guy who screwed everything up. And the reason he screwed it up was the Saudis were happy to pay a tremendous amount as a site fee. Eddie got greedy, and he said, not only pay a bigger amount and take all the television and everything, and all the promoters, Frank Warren, ourselves, had deals. It became so complicated that it dragged on for weeks. I truly believe that if it had just been a site fee, we would have signed it, we would have announced the fight, and the arbitrator, if he felt the way he did, would have given what's his name, Wilder, some damages, but wouldn't have enjoined the fight. So, but again, that's all in retrospect. But Eddie should shut up and stop blaming other people. Instead, he would be well advised to shut his mouth and look in the mirror.
What chance do you give Caleb Plant against Canelo? What chance do you give Caleb Plant against Canelo in September?
Don't give anybody a big chance with Canelo. Canelo was really proving to be a tremendous fighter as well as tremendous personality. That doesn't mean that Caleb Plant isn't a good fighter and won't give him the best kind of fight. But again, you have to go with Canelo, I would think, you know.
Bob, really quick, talk to us about the BT deal that you guys just signed.
No, Sky.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, with Sky leaving BT. Yeah, can you talk to us about the deal now that Matchroom is his own exclusive?
Yeah, I mean, what this enabled us to do was to sign a deal with Sky for fights coming in the United States and elsewhere. All those fights will be shown on Sky television for the public. Sky, what? Starting Saturday.
So, you alluded to the fact that Eddie Hearn did some very unusual things. Was that the motivation?
Not unusual things. He played it wrong. In other words, we kept telling him, don't screw around with having them buy all the rights, because they're not dumb, these people. If they're going to buy television rights, they're going to say, hey, how are we limited by Top Rank's contract with ESPN? How are we limited by Frank Warren's contract with BT? What is Eddie's contract with Joshua and Sky? That complicated everything, and it delayed everything. And remember, you're dealing with people in the Mideast, and they have lawyers in London, and it was back and forth, and it was endless, because it was complicated. If it was just a site deal, it wouldn't have been complicated.
So, Bob, just to follow up, was that extra motivation for you to get the deal done with Sky Sports? Because I know it takes time for deals
to do with it. It was the opportunity. They had an exclusive with Eddie Hearn, which blocked us from Sky Sports. When Eddie selected to go with the zone, that opened it up. We swooped in, and we're happy that Sky is going to be showing all of our fights to the UK people, because that'll help build up guys like Shakur and Crawford, people like that.
Speaking of deals, really quick, could you talk to us about, I'm sure you've heard of Josh Taylor's displeasure that no UK broadcaster picked up that fight.
Well, again, I can't compliment Josh Taylor for making a point about that, and maybe that was part of the motivation for Sky doing this deal with us, and now not only doing a Josh Taylor fight in the future, but all our fights. So he's quite right. Josh was quite right.
And Bob, one last question from GMT in the red corner box. Do you still enjoy doing it?
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm doing it.
Mom, you know about YouTubers fighting TikTokers?